Hello children, I hope everyone are safe and sound. Today for our English literature class, let us do the lesson, The Story of an Invitation by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Let us know about the author. Lucy Maud Montgomery from 1874 to 1942 was a Canadian author who is best known for her novel Anne of Green Gables, written in 1908. She went to publish 20 novels and 500 short stories and poems. Montgomery's mother dies when she was very young. So she was raised by her maternal grandparents who brought her up in a strict environment. She had no brothers or sisters and in her isolation created many imaginary friends. This period of her life gave rise to her creative talent. She worked as a teacher and had plenty of time to write stories which were published in various magazines and newspapers. So she is Montgomery. This is the picture of Montgomery. Let us know few words before we move into the text. And these words we come across the lesson. Academy, a school of special instructions. Bankrupt, completely without money, financially ruined. Caramel, a smooth, chewy candy. Circumstances, conditions related to an event. Commencement night, a ceremony at which academic degrees are conferred on successful students. Condemn, to express a strong disapproval of. Cordial, warm, sincere and friendly. Dartmouth, a city in Nova Scotia, Canada. Diplomatically, marked by tact, sensitively. Divan, a long backless sofa. Donut, a small ring shaped like cake, light cake. Drudgery, tediousness or unpleasantness of work. Gallor, a great number. Grave, dignified or somber in conduct or character. Mince pie, a small round pastry tart. Mourning, to show grief for the dead. Pound cake, a type of cake made from a pound of flour, a pound of fruit, etc. Proverbial, of the nature of a proverb, widely referred to, famous. Solemnly, earnestly, seriously or soberly. Trying, causing strain, hardship or distress. Tuck out, a time to eat tuck food, especially sweets and pastry. Wistfully, sadly with yearning. Now let us read the lesson. This is a short story, the story of an invitation about two girls who are completely opposite in nature. Let us read the text and know what the story is about. Bertha Sutherland hurried home from the post office and climbed the stairs of her boarding house to her room on the third floor. Her roommate, Grace Maxwell, was sitting on the divan by the window looking out into the twilight. A year ago, Bertha and Grace had come to Dartmouth to attend the academy and found themselves roommates. Bertha was bright, pretty and popular, the favorite of her classmates and teachers. Grace was a grave, quiet girl dressed in mourning. She was quite alone in the world. The aunt who had brought her up having recently died, at first she had felt shy with bright and brilliant. At first she had felt shy with bright and brilliant Bertha, but they soon became friends, and the year that followed was a very pleasant one. It was almost ended now, for the terminal exams had begun, and in a week's time the school would close for the holidays. So here we see two girls, Bertha and Grace, who are roommates in their housing home. That means in the academic year, they have come to Dartmouth to attend the academy. So they are roommates here and they both are opposite in nature. Here we read that Bertha was bright, pretty and popular, the favorite of her classmates and teachers. Grace was a quiet girl, grave, dressed in mourning. She was quite alone in the world, and she also lost her aunt who has brought her up. So here we see about the two girls who are opposite in nature, and soon the academic year is going to end and exams had begun. So soon they will go to their homes, leaving the academy for the summer holidays. Have some chocolates, Grace, said Bhatta gaily. I got such a good news in my letter tonight that I felt I must celebrate it fittingly. So I went into the carters and invested all my spare cash in caramels. It's really fortunate the term is almost out, for I'm nearly bankrupt. I have just enough left to furnish a tuck-out for commencement night and no more. What is your good news, may I ask? Said Grace. You know I have Aunt Margaret, commonly called Aunt Meg, out at Riversdale, don't you? There never was such a dear, sweet, jolly auntie in the world. I had a letter from her tonight. Listen, I read you what she says. I want you to spend your holidays with me, my dear. Mary Fairweather and Lucy Fish and Lily Dennis are coming too. So there is just room for one more, and that one must be yourself. Come to Riversdale when school closes and I'll feed you on strawberries and cream and pound cake and donuts and mince pie and all the delicious indigestible things that schoolgirls love and careful mothers condemn. Mary and Lou and Lil are girls after your own heart, I know. You shall all do just as you like, and we'll have picnics and parties and merry doing galas. So here we see that Bertha has received a letter, an invitation letter from her Aunt Meg, who is very jolly, loving, kind and loves children. So she received a letter from her, and she asked Bertha to come to her home at Riversdale and spend summer holidays with her. So she is asking her to come after the school closes. There, said Bertha, looking up with a laugh. Isn't that lovely? How delightful it must be to have friends like that to love you and plan for you, said Grace wistfully. I'm sure you will have a pleasant vacation, Bertie. As for me, I'm going into Clockman's bookstore until school reopens. I saw Mr. Clockman today and he agreed to take me. Bertha looked surprised. She had not known what Grace's vacation plans were. I don't think you ought to do that, Grace, she said thoughtfully. You are not strong and you need a good rest. It will be awful trying to work at Clockman's all summer. There is nothing else for me to do, said Grace, trying to speak cheerfully. You know, I'm as poor as the proverbial church mouse, Bertie, and the simple truth is that I can't afford to pay my board all summer and get my winter outfit unless I do something to earn it. I shall be too busy to be lonesome, and I shall expect long newsy letters from you telling me how you're fun passing your vacation on to me at second hand, you see. Well, I must set to work at those algebra problems. I tried them before dark, but I couldn't solve them. My head ached and I felt so stupid. How glad I shall be when exams are over. So here we see that Bertha, she was telling her friend Grace, her roommate Grace, about the invitation that she got, and Grace was very happy to know that Bertha is going to spend her vacation with her Aunt Meg, and she asked her to write letters so that Grace would know how fun and pleasantly her holidays were. And she also tells Bertha that she is going to spend her holidays in Clerkman's shop working for the summer holidays. But Bertha was not happy because Grace was looking very pale, she was very weak, and she was surprised to know what her vacation plan was. So, I suppose I must revise that senior English this evening, said Bertha absently. But she made no move to do so. She was studying her friend's face. How very pale and thin Grace looked, surely much paler and thinner than when she had come to the academy, and she had not by any means been plump and rosy then. So, Bertha was feeling very bad about Grace because she was looking very pale and thin, and being so much paler and thinner, how can she work in Clerkman's shop? I believe she could not stand 2 months at Clerkman's, thought Bertha. If I had not going to Aunt Meg's, I would ask her to go home with me, or even if Aunt Meg had room for another guest, I'd just write her all about Grace and asked if I could bring her with me. Aunt Meg would understand. She always understands, but she hasn't, so it can't be. Just then a thought darted into Bertha's brain. What nonsense, she said aloud, so suddenly and forcibly that Grace fairly jumped. What is? Oh, nothing much, said Bertha, getting up briskly. See here, I'm going to get to work. I wasted enough time. She curled herself upon the divan and tried to study her senior English, but her thoughts wandered hopelessly, and finally she gave it up in despair and went to bed. There she could not sleep. She lay awake and wrestled with herself. It was after midnight when she sat up in bed and said solemnly, I will do it. Next day, Bertha wrote a confidential letter to Aunt Meg. She thanked her for her invitation and then told her all about Grace. And what I want to ask Aunt Meg is that you will let me transfer my invitation to Grace and ask her to go to Riversdale this summer in my place. Don't think me ungrateful. No, I'm sure you won't. You always understand things, but you can't have us both, and I'd rather Grace should go. It will do her so much good, and I have a lovely home for my own to go to, and she has none. Aunt Meg understood as usual and was perfectly willing. So she wrote to Bertha and enclosed a note of invitation for Grace. I shall have to manage this affair very carefully, reflected Bertha. Grace must never suspect that I did it on purpose. I will tell her that circumstances have prevented me from accepting Aunt Meg's invitation. That is true enough. No need to say that the circumstances are hers, not mine. And I'll say I just asked Aunt Meg to invite her in my place and that she has done so. When Grace came home from her history examination that day, Bertha told her story and gave her Aunt Meg's cordial note. You must come to me in Bertha's place, wrote the letter. I feel as if I knew you from her letters, and I will consider you as a sort of honorary niece, and I'll treat you as if you were Bertha herself. Isn't it splendid of Aunt Meg? Said Bertha diplomatically. Of course you'll go, Grace. Oh, I don't know, said Grace in bewilderment. Are you sure you don't want to go, Bertha? Indeed, I want to go dreadfully, said Bertha frankly, but as I've told you, it is impossible. But if I am disappointed, Aunt Meg mustn't be. You must go, Grace, that is all there is about it. In the end, Grace did go, a little puzzled and doubtful still, but thankful beyond words to escape the drudgery of the counter and the noise and heat of the city. Bertha went home feeling a little bit blue in secret. It cannot be denied, but also feeling quite sure that if she had to do it all over again, she would do just the same. The summer slipped quickly by, and finally 2 letters came to Bertha, one from Aunt Meg and one from Grace. I have a lovely time, wrote the letter. And oh, Bertie, what do you think? I am to stay here always. Oh, of course, I am going back to school next month, but this is to be my home after this. Aunt Meg, she makes me call her, that says I must stay with her for good. In Aunt Meg's letter was this paragraph: Grace is writing to you, and will have told you that I intend to keep her here. You know, I have always wanted a daughter of my own, but my greedy brothers and sisters would never give me one of theirs, so I intend to adopt Grace. She is the sweetest girl in the world, and I am very grateful to you for sending her here. You will not know her when you see her. She has grown plump and rosy. Bertha folded her letters up with a smile. I have a vague, delightful feeling that I am a good angel in a storybook, she said. So this is the story about the two girls, where Bertha, she was very excited to go to her aunt and spend the summer holidays. But when she thought about Grace, she felt very sad that Grace is going to work for the next 2 months in Clerkman's shop. So she transferred her invitation. She requested Aunt Meg to invite Grace in Bertha's place, and she sacrificed her invitation for Grace and convinced Grace, and she made Grace to go to Aunt Meg. So even after spending 1 month time, Bertha received 2 letters, one from Grace and one from Aunt Meg. Grace was very happy to write this letter to Bertha, and she was expressing her feeling in her letter that she was going to stay for her rest of her life with Aunt Meg. And Aunt Meg, in her letter, she writes that she is very grateful to Bertha for sending Grace to spend her summer holidays with Aunt Meg, and she says that Grace was the sweetest girl in the world, and she is interested in she wants to adopt Grace, as Grace is an orphan, and Aunt Meg has no children, and if she adopts Grace, it would do good for both of them. So this is how the story ends up with a very good motive. Bertha folded her letters, and Bertha was thinking in her heart that she is a good angel in the storybooks. She is feeling very proud of herself for sending Grace in place of her to Aunt Meg. So this is how we see that the two girls who are opposite in nature, and both of them are very positive in nature, and Bertha, she really did good for her friends. So we also must always think about our friends and do good to them whenever they need our help. This is what we learn from this story.